I'm about halfway through Alien Isolation, and so I figured I'd give an update or more thoughts on the game. And the alien showed up, which is definitely cool and is more interesting than avoiding the human and robot opponents in the game. But one thing that I found a little strange is that you're basically almost always avoiding the alien, which I think is sort of weird from a tension standpoint, because basically the alien is almost always around, and I'm playing on easy. I don't know what it'd be like on hard, but you can basically always hear him banging around, and you know, he shows up on your radar. So, I mean, at least for me, I've sort of gotten into the playstyle where I'm almost always looking at that motion tracker and, you know, just hiding when things get close. And so that strategy doesn't quite work when they have some working Joes, the robots, or people in the vicinity. And then that makes things a little more interesting. But for a lot of the game, I just, you know, follow that motion tracker. And I've noticed this has a few interesting side effects. Firstly, the fact that the alien is always around means that I never sort of let my guard down. And if I never let my guard down, then and I'm always, you know, checking where the alien is, then it's difficult to be surprised. There have been a few occasions where I found like some weird pipe, sort of, I don't know, you go through these like ducts or pipes with the iris doors or whatever. So I found this weird one, started going through, you know, and then when your motion tracker doesn't work very well when you're in these ducts or whatever, and then I step out, and then as soon as I step out, the alien's right there and killed me, which was sort of an interesting surprise. That was kind of cool, but then I was really just mad because I had been, you know, like 10 minutes from last checkpoint, so that was a waste of 10 minutes. And so I think that I think Thomas Grip from Frictional wrote up an interesting look at Alien Isolation, but he said one of the things is that, you know, Alien Isolation sets up tension, which is basically tension from the last save, like tension that you'll lose your progress, which I think is sort of not ideal for a horror game. But the other thing I found is, at least on easy, it's almost, you're almost able to abstract the alien out of the equation and the fear and the horror. Like I was saying, you know, I look at the motion tracker a lot, and then all of a sudden when you're, you know, doing the motion tracker only and you're sort of avoiding the alien and the blips, then it's almost like you're not playing you're not fighting against an alien, you're fighting against a circle on a green display, and then, you know, the game plays more like Pac-Man, which is probably the original survival horror game, you know, fleeing from ghosts. But yeah, I mean, so it's weird to almost be sort of taken out of the world by the motion tracker, and you know, I think the way they set up the game design, the motion tracker was a great solution to the design problem of having this all-powerful, super mega death killer enemy, but I think the problem is that then it's easier to know what to expect from the alien, because you have a good idea of where he is. Although it's weird, you never, at least I never have a really good idea of where he is, because, I don't know, he's in vents or something, and I don't know where he crawls down, but I mean, like, usually I just keep a wide berth, and you know, on occasion I'll see him walk into a room that I'm in, you know, if I'm in under a table or in a locker, and that's kind of cool. But I mean, a lot of the game, you just hear these bang, 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 bang in the vents, and you know that there's an alien around, but that alien is just a green blip on your display. So I mean, like, for me, I don't think that's ideal from a horror perspective, because again, there's not that. I mean, obviously, you know, the direction the blip will go on the radar is somewhat unpredictable, but I mean, you're not. It doesn't catch you too often with something you're unexpected. And you know, that I think is something really great about horror games, and certainly you know, that complaint can be lodged against Neverending Nightmares, is that, you know, the enemies are too predictable, which I think is true. And I think, you know, I've talked about this in other diaries about how that, you know, maybe we could have done that better, but like in Alien Isolation, it's sort of the same thing. You know what to expect, and you're not surprised. And so if you play careful enough, at least on easy, then you basically aren't really afraid of the green dot. And so the thing that I was thinking is that ideally, I'd like a game without a motion tracker, or with like a woefully ineffective motion tracker. And I think Al on Facebook page mentioned, you know, the radio in Silent Hill, which is really cool. It just tells you there's an enemy around. It doesn't show you where that enemy is. And I think that's a really effective mechanic, because it gets you on edge when you hear that sound, but you don't know where it is, and you don't know what it is. And so that unpredictability, you know, causes your imagination to go wild, and I think that's a lot of where the best horror is created, you know, is within your own imagination. So I mean, like, you know, if it were me, you know, I think it would be cool if you didn't have the motion tracker, or it was like really bad and only gave you, you know, a very imperfect picture of the world. But then the problem is that it would be a horribly unforgiving game. I mean, it's already an unforgiving game, because I don't know what that was with my computer. Maybe it's possessed. But the idea is that, you know, when the alien spots you, you're dead. And there's nothing you can do to prevent that. And so if they made it so you couldn't have a tool that was very effective for avoiding the enemy, then you would be dead all the time. And so that would be a very difficult thing to fix. I mean, interestingly, in Thomas Grip's blog entry, sort of hints at the sort of fate worse than death mechanic that they're trying to explore in Soma, and certainly I'll be interested to see how that works. But you know, fundamentally, I think, you know, giving the players some chance to survive. Because, I mean, like, if you look at a movie, you know, the main character, you know, survives and survives and survives, hopefully, to the end of the movie. And, I mean, that's almost the experience you want to create, where you're just escaping by the skin of your teeth. If you're just getting punished and killed and repeated, you know, that's a very gamey thing, and again is creating tension for sort of the wrong reasons. You know, again, like Thomas Grip was saying about creating tension from you know, get to the next save point mechanic. So I mean, it's a tough problem to solve, and certainly, I mean, you know, I think for what they're going for, you know, what they have works pretty well, but I mean, it's just at least for me, it's, you know, there's no sort of imagined horror. It's you know, I'm able to just sort of play and know what to expect. Which, I mean, it's still an interesting game. I'm not the biggest stealth fan, but I mean, it's, at least to me at this point, you know, once I sort of got in the groove of things, it plays more like a stealth game than like a super horrific game, and I mean, stealth isn't my favorite genre, but you know, it's reasonably enjoyable. So I think that's all for now. But thanks for watching.